Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at a Cabinet meeting which is very full in content. I need to just begin the meeting, as we always do, by taking apologies for absence, and don't think we have any, so that's good. The minutes of the last meeting I will sign at the end of this meeting if you're all happy with that. Could I see if you're all happy with that? Proposed by Councillor Wimmer, seconded by Councillor Oliver. All in favour? Yep, thank you very much indeed. Disclosure of members' interest, we know the form here, and I think you will have all taken the necessary steps. So, before we actually begin the set agenda this morning, I would like to ask both Councillors Renner-Thompson and Councillor Mather to just give us a bit of an update on where we are, given the very serious issue we have with the war going on in the Middle East. That effect has been widespread. It is only right that we think about how we might be able to help our residents as a direct result of this conflict. And there are two areas in which residents are suffering considerably at the moment. One is around the cost of heating oil, kerosene, and the other is around those industries that rely on gas oil. And that is the fishing industry and the farming industry. So I'm going to ask Councillor Renner-Thompson to tell us, because I know every Cabinet member has received letters and emails around the problems people are having. Can I tell us a little bit about how things are in your part of Northumberland, please?
Absolutely, thank you, Leader. So, as you know, heating oil has jumped about 120% in the last week. I think the last time I filled my tank, it was 50 or 60p, and now it's up to 120 pence a litre. A lot of people who aren't familiar with this think that off-grid homes are up on the top of Cheviot or up in the hills that way. But actually, 95% of rural Northumberland isn't on the gas grid. That includes the entirety of the Northumberland coast, so big villages like Seahouses and Embleton aren't on the gas grid. They're all either oil or electrically heated, but mainly oil. I'm being inundated by concerned residents, mainly elderly residents, saying, "What am I going to do? How am I going to heat my home or heat my business?" So I think it's only right that we raise this. I know the government have talked about it. The energy price cap works for gas and electric heating, but it doesn't have an impact on oil heating. So our residents are suffering. What we can do about it, I suppose you can write to the relevant minister and the government and just reiterate our support for our residents and what they can do for them.
Thank you very much indeed. A very serious issue. Councillor Mather, tell us what's happening in the fuel market.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. It's an extremely challenging time for many industries with the increase in costs in fuel. Agriculture and our fishing industry, who use a lot of red diesel, have seen the price jump from low 70s into 120s. And one of the biggest issues is there's actually no supply. So what we're hearing this morning is at least a week delay now on red fuel. And many businesses have been contacting me raising these concerns that not only they can't afford it, but they can't actually get the supply. As Councillor Renner-Thompson has said, that the housing and the kerosene has jumped even more than the red. Fuel costs, which is putting people and businesses like bed and breakfasts and hotels seriously concerned that can they keep the heating on and the water hot going into a busy spring period. So lots of challenges. And, you know, for our own teams, you know, our own in-house fleet and our contractors, you know, we rely on excellent contractors getting our kids safely to schools and the roads repaired, and it's going to be an extremely challenging time for us all. So thank you for letting us raise this today, and if we could write to the correct minister, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for that. So I think we've all shared the same concerns, and we do know that there are parts of Northumberland that actually are not getting deliveries at all. So what I would like to do is suggest two things. how we might be able to help. First of all, today I will write and send it by email a letter to the Chancellor, so she is aware of the situation, which she may not be, and make sure that we've done that. And secondly, I would say to anyone who may be having issues, get in touch with the community bodies, and get in touch, if you're not able to do that, get in touch with us, and if we can help, we will. That our Communities First will be glad to help if we're able to. We will certainly be able to point you in the direction that you need to go if we're able to. We'll certainly be glad to help if we can. Okay, so with those two actions, I think and hope that the situation over there is resolved soon, because it seems to me very unfair that certain areas in our county and a number of people in our county are suffering as a direct result of this. And I think there are also a little bit of a question mark around some of the fuel companies, because I can't quite see why the increase should be so much. We know that the price, the barrel of oil has gone up, but we don't know why it's gone up so much in some particular areas, particularly in heating oil and kerosene. Okay, so that's what we'll do, and we will do the best we can to help going forward with that. Our first paper this morning is around Borderlands. Borderlands, as you know, is a partnership that's made up of a number of district and county councils. Scottish Borders Councils, Dumfries and Galloway, Westmoreland and Furness, Cumberland and ourselves. Northumberland was asked to be what's called basically the man that's in charge of the money, and therefore we allocate money on behalf of Borderlands as it's felt necessary to do so. So this particular paper is around the Borderlands Energy Programme, which is worth £23.5 million. And there have been 12 shortlisted schemes that have been put forward to go forward to the next steps. And these schemes are around photovoltaic cells, around ground heat source pumps, and a whole range of other very interesting and innovative ideas around renewable energy. The 12 are made up of 3 in Northumberland, which I'm very pleased about. So we're talking about just under £1 million, £800,000 to take these schemes forward to the next step. And that funding will, as I say, bring forward more detail on the schemes that have been looked at and agreed on going forward. So there we are. The recommendations are there for you. Are there any questions around this particular paper? Everyone happy? Okay, so the recommendations are to approve the use of 800,000 and to move forward with those schemes that are in the paper to the next step. And I formally propose those recommendations. Seconded by Councillor Chicken. Are there any questions before we take the vote? No? So are you all in favour, please? Oh, that's great. That's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. That takes us on to our next paper, which is around the economic strategy for Northumberland and the investment framework. And I'm going to ask the Deputy Leader to take us through this report.
Thank you very much, Leader. So, yes, first of a few reports on the agenda from me today. This one I'll expand on a little bit more perhaps than the other two, because it's a very important part of the work that we do here at County Hall. I'm very pleased to introduce the report setting out the county's plans for the next 10 years. This is a plan that's been widely consulted on with the public, in particular with businesses, and with members of the council as well. We've got strong support, I believe, across all of those various parties for the work that we've done. It's been based on a very, very significant amount of data analysis, looking at where our strengths are and what we do well as what we might do better in the future. It's it's a very, very lengthy document indeed, but I would recommend anyone who has some interest in it to get online and take a read through it, because it makes for an absolutely fascinating read. You'll find it on our website. In essence, the plan is thus, which is that we will have a focus, yes, on our core businesses, our core activities that already go on in the county, things like agriculture, forestry, food and drink, tourism, retail, etc., whilst also targeting some new or economic sectors that are in particular going to grow in the years to come and offer us the opportunity to create significantly more jobs and attract significantly more investment. So first of all, just a little bit of a word on those core industries and what we're doing to boost them. For example, food and drink, we'll have programmes including Taste of Northumberland, which is replacing Produced in Northumberland. Produced in Northumberland has been perhaps, when we've had the feedback, a lot of form filling and not necessarily sort of selling the product in the way that we might, which is that if you're getting something from Northumberland, you know that it's going to be a high quality, it's going to taste great, and so we've got some work that's going on that, and that's encapsulated in the wider set of plans we've got. In terms of tourism, we're going to be backing Visit Northumberland, making sure that we push for yes, more tourists, but more tourists that spend more money, because we don't want endless numbers of tourists trooping through the county and not adding to the economic performance of the county. We don't want to be another Cornwall or Lake District. We want more spend, not just more visitors. Linking to what we said at the start of the meeting, we're going to make sure that we're supporting our farmers, tackling and taking on where we encounter it poor policy from government, and we have seen some of that in recent times, and making sure that we're supporting farms to diversify and grow their business through the rural and small business service, which we'll talk about a little bit later in agenda item 6, I believe. We'll continue to back the forestry industry, make clear the case for new commercial forestry, as well as our ambitions on things like biodiversity. And again, we've got another paper linking with that later on as well. And all of those sectors will be boosted by the Northumberland Business Support Framework, which you'll see some more on later in the agenda, as well as we accept some funding from the Combined Authority in that regard. And of course, a pet subject of yours and of all of the administration, to make sure that we keep our town centres special and thriving through support mechanisms like free parking, which is very, very much makes us stand out compared to other councils, but also boosting town centres through programmes like Borderlands, boosting events where we can as well, to make sure that we attract people to our town centres. Because we know that Northumberland's booking the trend, and if you go around anywhere else around the country, you'll see town centres in significant dire straits. Northumberland, yes, we may have some issues in some places, but we are much more successful than other places around the country. Regarding those rapidly growing sectors, which is where we've got the opportunity to create significantly more jobs, we're going to target some of the ones where we've got specific strengths and opportunities. So that's with advanced manufacturing. We've got a heritage in the North East, but in particular in Northumberland, in that space, and there's more that we can be doing to help businesses grow, but to attract new businesses. Digital and AI, another key sector for us in the years to come. Renewables, particularly perhaps offshore renewables, where we've put a lot of work into creating that platform in Port of Blythe, but elsewhere in the county as well, where we've got strengths up in the Hexham Valley and elsewhere, and as well in life sciences, where we have some, again, a significant number of businesses, places like Alnwick and Cramlington, perhaps specifically Morpeth as well, actually, where we've got businesses that can grow rapidly if we get behind them. The hope of the plan is that we create 11,000 jobs or so in those sectors, and that's based on facts and on the evidence and on the data that I referred to earlier. You can read it all in the report. That's in addition to growing the core sector that I mentioned earlier, which is very important to us. So we're starting from a really solid foundation. Over the course of the last 9 years, the administration's done an awful lot to secure infrastructure investment. We've been very successful in that, far more so than other councils, other regions. Projects like the Northumberland Line, investment in our town centres, investment that we've gone about as well, though, in our schools, in education facilities, whether it's the Energy Central Learning Hub in Blythe, or the facilities that we lobbied for in Ashington and got funding for the new college campus there. And there's plenty more that we could talk about, and Guy may wish to talk about, assuming I don't use all of the time in today's meeting on this preamble. So we've got that solid foundation to anchor this investment and from the private sector, which is what we're really homing in on now. We're incredibly fortunate that we've got Blackstone QTS spending billions on their AI campus, but they're one of just a number of fascinating and innovative businesses establishing here and thriving here. Our plan details how we will look to leverage our fortunate position and keep Northumberland ahead of the pack. It won't be easy. We have some really interesting things that we're wanting to disrupt. It ties in with your desire and the Cabinet's desire to, and the whole Council's desire to tackle inequalities. So we have a disproportionate amount of workless households and those on incapacity benefit. That is not something that we want to see persist, and we'll work with business, with DWP and GP services and others to make sure that we get people back into work. And it's Northumberland residents that are benefiting and Northumberland communities that are benefiting from all of this, not just people coming to live here. As well, in particular, I just wanted to mention youth unemployment. This is something that I'm certainly concerned about. I know that the rest of the Cabinet is concerned about as well. We are seeing youth unemployment spike as a result, partly perhaps of AI, but as well government pay policy and other factors stopping companies employing young people. And you residents will see more on this from us in due course, but we are not prepared to just leave it be that young people are worried about their future. Yeah. When you're stepping out of education, that's the scariest time for anyone starting out on life, and this is something that we're wanting to address. As I said, we've been fortunate that the previous government's invested in Northumberland. We will continue to make the case for this government to invest in Northumberland. We've been making that strong argument about junctions on the A19 and particularly Moor Farm, but as well dualling of the A1, the A69. We will not relent in pressuring government to do the right thing, and I very much hope that we'll see some news on Moor Farm soon. And perhaps the Blythe Relief Road, which we're still waiting for feedback from government, but surely that must come soon, and I'll be making sure that we push that. Running in parallel with all of that, and included in this report, you'll see commentary on the Northumberland Growth Plan. This is the 110 million or so pounds that we have from the Blackstone QTS deal, which will accrue as time goes on and they build out their projects. We already have money in the bank from them, and we will, and I'm very grateful that we've ring-fenced that money specifically to boost economic growth, to help us invest alongside businesses, whether that's buying land, whether it's putting in the investment that we need to into other infrastructure, amongst a whole host of other things. So there's a good bit of that in the report and in the recommendations. I very much hope, though, that 110 million is the start of the fund, not the end of the fund. There's clearly, as we develop our local plan alongside the economic strategy and economic plan, there is the opportunity to grow that fund with development on council land, and we have that very much in mind. And finally, as well, we've seen a little bit in the press about other data centres coming and joining what might be yet a little bit of a sort of, and I would describe it, a gold rush in Northumberland as people look at what's happened with QTS and say that they would like a bit of that. And so I would just, in the context of the growth fund, say that anyone who is thinking that they're coming and cashing in and making a quick buck from Northumberland they need to speak to the Regen team and contribute significantly to funds. We will not see businesses come here, take advantage of the power supply that we have, the land that is here. They need to engage or they will not be, I don't know, the flavour of the month. Let's put it that way, or even the year or the decade. So there's quite a clear message. I'll move to the recommendations because I'm conscious that other people will want potentially to have their say, including yourself, Leader. So we have an amendment proposed by me to the recommendations, which is to add a further recommendation in at what will be 3.14. This would be additional. So 3.1 to 3.3 is proposed as is. 3.14 affects the subsequent recommendations, and it reads as follows. Steps will not be taken to progress recommendations 3.4 to 3.13 until there has been consideration by the Corporate Services and Economic Overview and Scrutiny Committee at their 30th of March 2026 meeting, and, if applicable, Cabinet at its 7th of April meeting to consider scrutiny's recommendations. And that is reflecting some feedback that scrutiny wanted to talk a little bit about this. And so anything that comes out of that meeting we may reflect on in April if necessary, depending on what that feedback is. But we don't know what it is because we haven't had it yet. And that's it. So happy to move the recommendations on that basis.
You're moving those recommendations with that addition, and I second that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Yes, Councillor.
If I could just make a sort of couple of comments rather than a question. I mean, first of all, I think if the Chancellor wants to see what a strategy for economic growth looks like, then she should read this document. It really is. It demonstrates that Northumberland is open for business, and I think it treads a fine line, a really good line between growth sectors and also looking after our core sectors like tourism and rural businesses and agriculture. I also think that it recognises that economic growth is driven by businesses themselves and not by government or councils, but we play a really important role acting as a catalyst and a convener. So I think it demonstrates our ambition for Northumberland, and I think it's an absolutely excellent piece of work.
Excellent, thank you. Any other? Yes, Councillor Stewart.
Yes, thank you. I'm pleased to hear you refer to the Moor Farm roundabout. There has been a lot of money ploughed into that scheme. It hasn't come to fruition at all. There's been false starts many times since the new government came into power. Can I also add about the A1? This government cancelled the A1, major impact, and there's absolutely no talk about dualling the A69. That's been totally forgotten about. So my concern, I'm not going to be talking about why incidents occur there, but actually the emergency services in those areas are having real struggles to get through the levels of traffic we're finding here now. So with you, I would like to back your call to improve our infrastructure on the roads, in particular the ones I've just highlighted.
Yeah, good, thank you very much. Any other points? If not, as you suggested, I might want to say something, and I absolutely do. This is a great document. Thank you to you, Richard, for all the work that you've done representing us on business and the economy. Thank you to our staff who pulled together what you describe as a real example of a proper economic strategy, which it certainly is. And this takes us through till 2035 and demonstrates the fact that we are a land of great opportunities. And it is based upon our three priorities. Our priorities are, firstly, to provide value for money, and that means making sure that we spend our money wisely for the future benefit of all the people and all our residents that live in Northumberland. Secondly, to aggressively pursue business opportunities and new jobs, and that is what we're doing within this, and all the ideas that Councillor Wermath talked about, plus all the work that is already underway, plus the work that has already taken place in the last 9 years. And I'm really proud of the commitment and the ambition of the Conservative administration. and the previous Conservative government, who provided huge sums of money for towns that had been, quote, forgotten, quote, and I use that as the words of opposition councillors, towns that had been forgotten but are now seeing huge amounts of money being invested in them for the sake of the towns and for the sake of the people that live there and for the whole of the future of the county. And finally, tackling inequalities is important for us. We can't do this on our own, but we can make a difference, and we are already making a difference. We know, for example, that the government refused to give us any recovery grant. Why? Because we can't demonstrate the same levels of deprivation and difficulty that other councils have. So in many ways, we've been victim of our own success, but it's not something we're going to give up. It's not something we're going to let slip. We will continue to stand up and speak for everyone that needs our help. And this document will provide those opportunities through Northumberland Skills and through the new jobs that we hope to see over the next 9 years. And I will continue to hold those three priorities very close to all our hearts, because we are getting there, we are achieving, and we will continue to achieve. And this document underlines that continuing ambition, which is so important. So, fantastic bit of work. Thank you to all the staff that have helped. Thank you to Richard. And all I can say is, here's to the next 10 years, and we will achieve even more for the people across the county. So, being proposed and seconded with the change and the additional point that's been made, which will allow all members on that scrutiny committee that want to have a say and have their view and express their opinions and point out things that they think could be looked at more in a couple of weeks. And I look forward to that, and Richard and I will go along to that meeting. And that is the real stamp of democracy. So, with that, can I ask if you're all in favour of the proposals? That's unanimous. To do with the business support framework. This is going to be something that is going to be, again, presented by Richard Wearmouth, briefly, but to the point, I know.
Lucky you, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Leader. So yes, I'll be a bit more brief on this one. This is the business support programme. We've done a lot of work in this space over the course of many years, supported by funding from various places, the latest one being the Shared Prosperity Fund. This document and report is seeking to accept funds from the combined authority of £8.5 million, effectively to replace the funding that would have come through Shared Prosperity Fund and allow us to continue these rural growth programme and business support, and to expand upon, hopefully, what we've done in the past. It also just covers some bridging money, effectively, to get us from one programme to the next as well. This is a programme that we administer on behalf, or will administer on behalf, of Northumberland, of Durham, and the more rural parts of Gateshead. And people are often puzzled that there are rural parts of Gateshead, but there is quite a bit of it. We will be leading that work, working closely with our partners in the combined authority. And so what are the sorts of things that this is doing? It's providing a single rural business gateway, providing diagnostic support, brokerage and enterprise support. We've got various skilled professionals who assist with business growth, with animation, with startup support, with farm advisory services, with support for the agriculture, with support for the forestry, timber industries to develop as they see fit, and as well support for the food and drink sector, a lot of which I've covered in the previous report, and so I won't rehash that. At paragraph 5.9 in the report, you can see some of the outputs that we're targeting. 900 unique enterprises supported, 304 enterprises receiving financial support, etc., etc. 350 jobs created as a result of the programme, etc. So I can't do it justice in terms of everything that they do, because it covers such a wide set of activities. What I will say is that we're able to bring this forward now because actually Leader, it was your portfolio in the Combined Authority. It was the first one to actually achieve a funding for one of its work streams. That's the funding that's flowed through into this support. And that's it. Happy to move the recommendations as in the report.
Thank you very much, and I'll second those. Any points, queries? Yes, Councillor Renner-Thompson.
Thank you, Leader. The world to it, and they all speak very highly of it. I went to one of the business networking events that we hosted in the Annick Playhouse the other day, just to see what it was all about. It was very, very well attended, very good advice given to those businesses. You know, before we left the European Union, I sat on a number of EU grant panels, and this is what is designed to replace those previous programs that we had. A lot of critics said it could never be done, and here it is being done. And those same critics were probably the people that said, oh, we should never join the North East Combined Authority, but it was because of our firm negotiating stance with the government that got us this rural funding in the first place. So it's a credit to us.
Thank you. Any other points? I think we'd all be really keen to see this fly. We know already, as you say, the work that's being done now is exemplary and very helpful to those rural businesses that can benefit from advice and the expertise that the staff have on this subject. I would like to say thank you to the Mayor for agreeing this money and getting it through to us, and that's obviously been very helpful, and to our staff in the Council, and also again, Richard, to you for the work that you've done on this. It will be a really important piece of work going forward, as farming is not in a happy place at the moment. I think we'd agree. There has been a considerable amount of disruption and lack of security, really, for the last year and a half or so. So this will help those businesses who want to expand, or those people who want to start up a business in a rural area, the advice they need and the top-up that they might get if that plan is considered to be worthwhile and something that will benefit the county. So great stuff. And thank you very much for all the work that's been done on it. So the proposal's been agreed, put forward and seconded. Are you all happy with that? Could you show, please? Yes, that's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. We move on now to a different part of the county, which is in the southeast, which is the site of the former Ashley High Whittrigg Middle School. And I'm going to ask Richard Wearmouth to tell us a bit about this one.
Thank you, Leader. Last one from me. You'll be pleased to hear. So this is the sale of the former, the site of the former high school and middle school, Astley High School and Whittrigg Middle School. We have no need of this site now. We've opened the super school in Seaton Valley, and doing very well it is. It's an incredibly impressive building. The sale of this land will help us to fund some of the works that have been done there, but by no means all of it. Throughout the process of this sale, as we always do with every land sale in the county, we ask officers to reflect on the amount of money that they can achieve, yes, to achieve best value for money, but also to consider the social aspects of any proposal. And in this case, you'll see that they have succeeded in that in a number of ways. And so the proposal is for the sale of land that will allow for 135 new homes, much needed homes generally in the county, because we do need new housing in the right place. And this we feel is the right place. 20 of those homes will be affordable homes, and what do I mean by that? In this instance, I mean council homes, because they will be acquired by the council, brand new council houses acquired by the housing revenue account of the council, and they will become the property of the council at the end of once they're constructed. And in addition, on the site you have some commercial space for retail businesses. Again, something that Seaton Valley and in particular Seaton, Delville, Holywell and Seghill have some of, but probably could do with some more of, and a great opportunity for new businesses to open on the site as well. There are further details in the confidential annex, just to be clear, but the only reason that that is not available on the council website is because the details are commercially sensitive. However, we've gone through a full competitive process. This was by far the best offer that was tabled and ticked a number of boxes, as I've outlined there. And so if you do want to discuss it in any more detail in terms of price, etc., we would have to go into confidential part of a meeting. I wouldn't propose that we do that. I think you've got the information. You've seen what you have available to you, and I'm just happy to move the recommendation as stands.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask if Councillor Chicken would like to second it, and you may want to speak to this as the local member.
Yes, thank you, Leader. This has been a little bit of a topic of contention within Seaton Delville and Seaton Valley as a whole. Nobody really knows what's going to happen when a site becomes available, a site on such scale. The general feeling from the public, from our residents, was very mixed. Some said, well, we do need housing. Other people said we don't need housing. Some people said we need industry, we need jobs, we need businesses. But with a small nod to we do still have to accommodate. The proposals that have been put forward, I think, are a very nice and happy medium, something that I'm happy to stand behind. We need jobs in our area, we need industry, we need facilities, and that certainly looks like that is on the plans for this. Of course, all sites that we no longer use have to be sold. They have to be. We don't have an endless amount of money. It isn't a money pit. We need to bring that money back in so that we can continue producing the fantastic schools that we do. So I'm very pleased to see this progressing as it is. I know that a lot of work has been put into this to find the right buyers, to find the right happy medium for the residents. And I just hope in the process of building these new homes and these new properties that the builders will be sympathetic to the needs and wants of the village. Thank you.
Good, thank you. So it's actually a remarkable change there, because not only do we have a fantastic super school, which is going really, really well, and if anyone hasn't seen it yet, you must go have a look. It's wonderful. And within that, there is a leisure offer, isn't there, that is also available to community groups that can use it as well. So a really great development, and something we should be very proud of. But in addition to that, the former site will not only give us a cash receipt and a good cash receipt, but will also provide these 20 affordable homes, which is something that we want to see more of, and what a way to do a deal. So I'm very pleased with the way this has turned out, and grateful to everyone involved. So, proposed and seconded. Any other points anyone would like to make? In that case, are you all happy with the recommendations? Thank you very much. That's agreed. And then we move on to agenda item 8, which is the financial performance, the position at the end of December 2025, which is almost 3 months ago, of course, but you're going to tell us why this is good news.
Thank you, Leader. This is the third of 4 quarterly financial performance reports. The next one will be coming soon, and it will be the end-of-year outturn report. This report is forecasting, as of the end of September, a £1.7 million overspend to the year end. But I'd just like to stress that that probably isn't a reason for concern. The previous report was 3.3 million, and the report before that was 7.5 million. So the trend line is definitely heading in the right direction. I'm just going to pick out a few of the key points, and so that people understand sort of some of the challenges that we're facing. We're looking at forecasting a £4.7 million overspend in adult services. And that includes an integrated commissioning forecast overspend of £6.9 million. So that's a demand-led cost to the council, and that's about us providing the statutory services that we're required to pay for and to support residents within our communities who have those needs. And just to illustrate, that includes, there's 264 packages with an average cost of over £100,000 per year each, and that's up 32 on December and the year before. So that is a significant challenge that we're facing. 215 of those packages are around adult learning disability cases, and they have an average cost of £173,000 a year. So, that it really is a sort of challenging environment, and we have to these are important services. We have to provide them, but they are demand-led, and it's very difficult for us to manage that demand. On the more positive side, we have an underspend of 1.1 million on the in-house provider services within adults. On children's, which is our other big spending area, one of our key services, we're currently forecasting at the end of December a £3.8 million overspend. And that's really driven by rising demand for external placements, but we're also facing rising costs as well. So the average weekly cost for those external placements has risen from £6,052 a week to £6,592, and that's a 9% increase. Some of that will be down to increased utility costs and energy costs. Some of it will be down to the increases in employers' national insurance that the government have introduced. So we are facing challenging demand increases, but also challenging cost increases. Overall, the forecast sort of end-of-year position, those that are offset by reductions in other areas, in particular reductions in the forecast borrowing costs and in reduced staffing costs. We are still maintaining very ambitious capital spending where we feel it's absolutely necessary and where it will bring real value to our communities. But there is a degree of that being reprofiled because of just the capacity to build and delays through things outside of our control, like planning permission and so on, and working with external partners. We've invested £64 million in transport schemes to the end of December. We've invested £35 million in education and young people, and it's that sort of investment that actually stops the revenue costs by going up by even more, because we're providing more in-county capacity for adults and for young people in our social care facilities. So it means that people get the care closer to home, but also it costs the council less money. We've also invested £12 million in housing, and then the report goes on to talk about the best savings that we've made. It also talks about some of the very sound treasury management, and then there are various appendices showing the progress against savings targets. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Are you going to propose a recommendation?
I'll propose it, yep.
Okay, Councillor Mather, you're seconding it? Are there any questions, thoughts, queries? Okay, so an improving picture, as you say, within a very challenging financial position that we are put into, but isn't it refreshing to note how solid the finances are at the County Council compared to so many other councils who have sadly had to go to government for extra help or increase their council tax by some significant amount more than we are. So grateful to everyone that's been involved in that to make sure that we are very sound financially. And long may that continue, and I know it will. Because it's all very well being very proactive and very committed and very ambitious in what we want to do, but we also have to make sure that the money stacks up as well. So that discipline and grip on finances remains equally important now as it does over the next years. So there we are, proposed and seconded. Are you all happy? You are? Thank you very much indeed. That takes us on to some new spend. These are proposals that have been forward to us for consideration, which we have considered. There are a number here, so what I'll do is I'll ask each Cabinet member to speak briefly on their respective bids, and we'll take them all at the end. Okay, so the first one is the Pegswood Training Facility Remedial Works. Tell us what that is, Gordon Stewart.
Yes, thank you, Leader. I will be keeping very brief. The reason for that is I've been to the training centre on numerous occasions. Members of the Cabinet have been there as well. It is the basics. The training facilities are outstanding, but this particular piece of equipment needs a lot of TLC and repairs. So before it gets into disrepair, we're proposing to spend 0.175 million to provide greater training for the staff up there.
Excellent, thank you very much indeed. This is for our firefighters.
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct.
For which we are very grateful and very glad they form part of the County Council, a very important part, so that when people pay their council tax, they're not just paying for the services they see the council provide every day, they're also paying for a first-rate fire and rescue service as well. And we're very glad that that should be seen as one. Okay, thank you. If there are no queries, I'll move on to the next one, which is Northumberland Bus Stop Programme. Councillor Mather, what is that about?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. We're being asked to consider to spend 1.4 million in 2026-27 with regards to the bus shelter improvement programme. This is across the county about improving accessibility and bus shelters. As you'll be aware that town and parish councils currently manage the majority of the bus shelters under the devoluted local services. So we'll be working very closely with town and parish councils to identify the areas of need and improve the accessibility. Like I've said, it's with regard to shelters, accessible drop curbs and improving heights for accessibility into buses, installation of them, safety lighting and information poles to make sure there's the most up-to-date information available. And it'll be a joint venture with the town and parish councils.
Excellent, thank you very much indeed. Any queries, questions? If not, we move on to the next one, which is the Community Transport Investment Programme. This is being funded by the bus Service Investment Programme, Improvement Plan, sorry, BSIP, which was money that was given by the previous government to Mayoral Authority, and which we are going to take up almost £1 million of to fund new buses for community transport. We know that that's an area that we want to invest in if we can, because very often smaller villages out in Stonehoff, for example, or farther afield, sometimes have trouble, especially for our older people, have trouble in finding a bus service that suits them. So this hopefully will make a big difference and a very proactive step to be taking in improving rural bus services. And if there are no questions or queries on that one.
Could I just ask, Leader, add to that, last night I attended a parish council meeting where we've just installed a new cross-border bus. So it's working with Scottish Borders Council and our own team, and members of the public turned out to that just to congratulate the council on that, how it's really tackling inequalities. One lady especially, she said she felt absolutely liberated by having a bus into an area that's never seen a bus for many decades. This is a lady who has a sight issue, and has just gotten a guide dog, and she was able to use the bus by herself for the first time this week. So she's very grateful, and the team have done a fantastic job of using this piece of funding and improving services right across the county.
That's really very, very heartening to hear. Thank you for that. I do admire Wooler Parish Council because of all the work they've done on a whole range of issues, including community transport. So well done to Wooler Parish Council. Please keep up the really good work that you do. This will make a difference. This will make a difference by providing new buses for communities to be able to use. Thank you very much for that. The next one is the Riverbrook Gardens Phase 3. Colin Horncastle.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, this is a good news story for us and our tenants. I'll try and keep this brief, but there's some important points in here. These opportunities that have arisen from our excellent planning policies. We're being asked to find or take 408,000 from the HRA to buy 3 two-bedroom units on this Riverbrook Gardens in Alnwick. 136,000 per unit, which is excellent value. There's 9 units available. We'll be taking 3. And that's on the back of the good news from 2 years ago where we purchased 8 of them. They will be advertised on Home Finder, as with the previous 8, and the important thing here that we should take note is the weekly affordable rent will only be £105. And these properties have top spec insulation, electric car chargers and solar panels. The weekly affordable rent must be 80% less than the market rent. Independent valuer puts it at £650. Affordable, 80% affordable brings it down to £520 per month. But we still think this is unaffordable for many, so we consider £420 a month appropriate to still give us a reasonable return. So that's excellent news for our tenants. On-site provision, so these houses look the same as the market houses, which is exactly what we want. And this is increasing our housing stock with high-quality dwellings. So good news story, Leader.
Excellent, thank you. Yes, and this is in Alnwick, where we know that there is a need for more affordable homes, so it's absolutely the right thing to be doing. So very good. Thank you for that. Any questions or queries on this one? And if not, then I'm going to ask Councillor Oliver to tell us what virtual infrastructure replacement means in a nutshell.
This is an investment that won't be seen directly by residents in Northumberland, but it is necessary, and it's one of the things that enables the council to provide its services efficiently, and will also enable us to achieve our best savings. So this is a £350,000 investment in a hyper-converged infrastructure. And I'll just assume you understand what that is. But it will bring a future saving of £400,000 on our storage area network in the future. So it's basically central IT infrastructure.
So we're talking about investing more to try and save some money in a way that we don't fully or some of us don't fully understand, but we know that you do, and that's the important thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions or queries from anyone? Everybody happy? No queries. So therefore, can we come back, put the basket together with all these eggs in them, all really fantastic, you know, community buses, investing in them, in your, whatever it is, IT thingy, and the affordable homes, and of course, making sure that our fire service is equipped to the best way that we can. So a lot of really good topics here. So been proposed by Councillor Oliver, seconded by Councillor Mather. Are you all in favour of these together? Good, thank you. Biodiversity planning and reporting. Councillor Riddle.
Thank you, Leader. As you've just said, this is something that we are tasked, we have to do this. Under Section 40A of the Natural Environment and Rural Communities Act of 2006, all councils must publish a report This is our first report, and then we've got to subsequently plan and say what we are going to do in the next 5 years. So discussions have taken place with officers from across the council, particularly including the planning service, to gather information on what actions have already been taken to comply with this biodiversity duty and what we've got planned for the next 5 years. Along with the environmental policy statement and action plan, we can demonstrate that we have effective delivery across the council. Some of the examples, we've been working with landowners, etc., to develop PNG units. We were actually devolved the role of preparing the North of Tyne Local Nature Recovery Strategy, which is for NECA. And, I can say that there are 7 habitat banks already in Northumberland, including the Popland Burn one. And as an example of what's to come, a biodiversity net gain baseline metric and report has recently been obtained for East Cramlington, covering both the local nature reserve and the wider reclamation site. This will enable the development of habitat bank on that site. So, you can see that officers have been very busy here. They've worked with lots of partners, including the marine partners up the coast and also Northumberland National Park. We have got plans which are detailed here about how we manage our own country parks and riverside parks, etc. And really it's a good news story. And the other thing that I omitted to say was that under the plan that we've done for the North of Tyne Local Nature Recovery Strategy, that's actually been approved by Natural England now. So that's good news, and that can go out for consultation later. So really this is telling us that we've ticked all the boxes, we've got things in place and a clear plan for the next 5 years. So, I ask Cabinet to approve the recommendations at 3.1 on page 195, 196.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much, John. So there's just the one recommendation, isn't there? Which basically sets out our obligation to do all we can to enhance and conserve biodiversity. And it's not just our duty, but it's our wish as well that we will do all we can to ensure that biodiversity loss, which sadly has been significant, right across the world, but we will do our bit to do what we can to conserve our really important biodiversity across the county. So, proposed and seconded by Councillor Patterson. Are there any questions? Yes, there is. Richard Weirman.
Thank you, Leader. So I just wanted to expand a little bit on a few bits which are worthy of note. So first of all, as John said, this is something that we have to provide as part of government legislation in terms of a summary of what's going on here. What's really good is to see the county and Advanced Northumberland as well so active in trying to react to it. So if you just take a step back to what used to happen on building sites, whether it was commercial, residential or whatever, you would be obliged to find some tiny little corner on the site to provide on-site mitigation. It usually wouldn't actually do anything to help biodiversity because it was too small a bit of land, there was no connection with other sort of habitats, and it would fail, and huge amounts of money was spent on providing that on-site work. This actually allows developers in the sort of wider essence of the thing to work with councils like ourselves or with private business to outsource that onto other sites, make the most of the site that they have for development and see proper diversity as part of a much bigger plan that actually delivers on what it's supposed to. It's great that Advanced Northumberland are stepping into this space with Portland Burn, funny enough. I'm going there later on to have a look. I think, John, you might be coming along to that as well. It's a significant revenue stream for them and could be for the council in due course, because the council has significant areas of land dotted across the county that could be made even better in terms of the habitat that they provide, but the council wouldn't necessarily have had money to achieve that once upon a time. This is a possible revenue stream to allow us to do that and to make additional cash as well, whilst also giving the public access to it in terms of recreation, whether it's in our country parks, maybe new country parks, or new areas to go and walk and enjoy what will be created. So it's a much improved system compared to what it used to be. It's a fantastic opportunity for a rural county like Northumberland. And as well, if we utilise council land and other land that is perhaps at the periphery of what's really useful, but has the opportunity to be really biodiverse, it'll mean that we won't see loss of tenanted farmland and other farmland as well. So very, very interesting space for Northumberland in the years to come.
Good, thank you very much. Any other points or questions on this? I think it's probably fair to say that this covers all the county, and rural and urban. We know that farmers, farm managers, landowners are natural environmentalists, and they will be encouraged to do more, and they will grasp that opportunity. And in the urban areas, we will do what we can, obviously within our country parks and our green spaces, to ensure that we promote biodiversity. And I think the example you quoted actually is a really interesting one. In Cramlington, which covers the local nature reserve, which is a really important piece of work there. And so well done to Cramlington, that's really good, and glad we're working so closely with them. Okay, so there we are. That's that report. Any questions, queries? Are you all happy to accept the proposal, which has been made and seconded? Please show if you are. Lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Excellent. So, the North of Tyne Local Nature Recovery Strategy, a very important paper again, and I'm going to ask Councillor Riddle to tell us about this, please.
Thank you, Leader. I know you've asked me to be brief with these reports, but I'll try and do them some justice. Local nature recovery strategies were introduced as part of the Environment Act in 2021, with responsible authorities appointed by the Secretary of State for the Environment to prepare them to cover the whole of England. They placed a statutory duty on public authorities to have regard to their content and provide a place-based guide for land managers and provide investors wishing to undertake or support nature recovery. As such, whilst they identify nature recovery priorities, they also promote appropriate nature recovery measures across their geography. This first iteration extends across the North of Tyne area to reflect the previous combined authority arrangements. Similar strategies are in the process of being approved for the South of Tyne and Weir and Durham. For the North of Tyne area, the North East Combined Authority is responsible with this council, Newcastle City Council, North Tyneside Council and the Northumberland National Park Authority defined in the Act as supporting authorities. The purpose of this report is to agree the content of the North of Tyne LNRS as amended by the recent public consultation for subsequent approval by the Combined Authorities Cabinet on the 17th of March. Consistent with this authority guidance, the document adopts a habitat-based and evidence-led approach to define the nature recovery priorities. Taking together, these priorities extend to around 18,000 hectares or 31.6% of the North of Tyne area. As such, I consider that this LNRS has achieved a proportionate and reasonable balance between promoting nature recovery at scale, safeguarding our most productive land for food and timber, and facilitating housing development and economic growth. And, you know, a big thank you to our team who have drawn this up. It's been a lot of work. And really, quite a simple recommendation on here, which is to advise NECA to approve the draft local nature recovery strategy for the North of Tyne as amended by feedback from the recent public consultation process.
Yep, good. Thank you very much indeed. Very valuable piece of work that's been carried out by the County Council and continued by the Combined Authority. Are you proposing that recommendation?
I've proposed
and
it.
Seconded by Councillor Horncastle. Does anyone have any questions, queries, thoughts? Everybody happy? Good. Thank you very much for the work that's been done there. Are you all agreed, please? Yeah, thank you very much indeed. That takes us on to another one from Councillor Riddle, which is the Environment Policy Statement and Action Plan Update, 26-27 to 28-29.
Thank you, Leader. This is a very important paper in my opinion. Cabinet agreed an environmental policy statement and action plan back in 2023. It demonstrates a high priority being given to our commitment to maintain, protect and enhance the environment. We recognise that having a healthy and sustainable natural environment is critical to the success of this county, and it underpins the Council's 3 key corporate priorities of driving economic growth, tackling inequalities and delivering value for money. Since the introduction of the environment policy in 23, the Council has already introduced a raft of green improvements, and these include, this is just a few of them, agreeing and implementing a new climate change action plan, which the Council is being on track to meet its target of halving its own CO2 emissions by the end of 25-26. The upgrading of over 860 homes to reduce heating bills and dampen mould risks, as well as reducing carbon emissions. Recycling over 11,000 tonnes of road planings back into new road making materials. This is saving us over 1.25 million a year. Giving out over 60,000 saplings through the free tree scheme, supporting 59 community initiatives to get actively involved in improving the environment through our Environmental Climate Change Fund. That's 50,000 a year. Improving our parks and green spaces, and we've actually increased the green flag parks to 14 now. Improving the county recycling rate from 32% to over 35% and reducing fly tipping by over 30% in the past 2 years. That was through the hard-hitting engagement and campaign, and also the fact that we agreed to increase the fees and also the enforcement activity. Supporting 649 community-led clean-up days carried out by our volunteers to help tackle littering in local areas. And additionally, 12 out of our 13 designated bathing waters in Northumberland are now consistently being rated as excellent, with Spittal and Berwick being rated as good. We've addressed the historic pollution at Linemouth Bay, which was something that had been ignored by previous administrations. We've actually spent £5 million on that scheme to protect the beach and prevent material washing back into the marine area. We've also set up the Rural Economy Forum, which includes food and farming. There's a meeting of that this week. We've made our travel and transport systems greener and healthier with the reopening of the, and I'm sure you're very keen on this one, the Northumberland Railway Line, which has already seen over 1 million passengers within the year. And, you know, we're pushing for more carriages. We've also got the active travel routes being provided at Callerton Lane, Ponteland, Blythe and Ashington, and further schemes under construction at Blythe, Ashington, Bedlington and Hexham to Corbridge routes. So, you know, we've therefore made already great progress in delivering against our policy and actions, and we recognise we still have more to do. That's why we've updated our action plan, set out priorities for the next 3 years. These include continue our Warm Homes programme, continuing investment to improve energy efficiency and renewable energy generation in our own buildings, expanding the coverage of EV charge points across the county, agreeing a new urban tree policy that will set out the approach and service standards that residents can expect to receive when reporting issues with trees in a local area, improving our grounds maintenance service to better support nature recovery and improve biodiversity, but whilst also maintaining the high level of visual amenity and improving value for money. Continue to have improve access to our high quality parks, country parks, green spaces, and we've actually we want to increase the green flag parks from 14 to 15 by 2029. So we're still pushing with those. Increase our household waste recycling rate through the introduction of food waste recycling improvements to the range of items which are collected under simple recycling, to a target increase of 50% by 2029. Reduce the number of fly tipping incidents again each year on year. Develop a new campaign to tackle the issue of dog fouling and to seek to further improve our public transport systems, building upon the success of the Northumberland line by extending it even further, hopefully into New Biggin, and increasing the number of carriages to maintain the service standards, etc. Also increasing our bus services and the like in rural areas. You also see from other reports coming to Cabinet today that as part of the environment policy we're making excellent progress on supporting nature recovery and improved biodiversity. NCC is taking the lead in developing the LNRS for the North of Tyne area. And whether we're dealing with littering or fly tipping or creating more green space in woodlands or tackling major social issues such as climate change and loss of biodiversity, we have a duty of care to look after our county. We've made great strides, but I know that there's still more to do, and subject to approval of these recommendations, look forward to working with everyone for the benefit of the county. And I've got the recommendation on page 3, 4 of the paper here, which, do you want me to read it out, or we just take this read?
I think we have enough.
Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much indeed for that. So you're proposing those recommendations that are seconded by Councillor Patterson?
Yes.
Okay, so before we take the vote, I think it's important to note that the revision to our environment policy, which we launched about 18 months ago, was something that we asked for, and I'm very pleased that officers have been able to get this turned around and to demonstrate how important the place that we live in is. Everything that we feel and see and touch and enjoy about living in Northumberland is largely down in many, many areas down to us. And so it's important that we put the environment and the natural place, if you like, that Northumberland is right at the front of what we do. And I think it's very important, as you say, you've touched on a number of those areas that we've done significant work on, and where we want to do more on. I think a couple that I would pick out, particularly is the Linemouth Bay regeneration scheme, which I know Cabinet have been very proud to see completed, where decades and decades and decades of spoil from old tipping in the sand dunes has been exposed. And rather than just leaving it, we decided we would spend a significant amount of money tidying up and making sure that that was put back to the way it was before all that tipping took place. And it was a difficult decision. But again, it showed the commitment and ambition that we have as an administration to do that work. And I'm really glad we've done it. You also talked about the Environment and Climate Fund. That will continue. That's £50,000 a year, which has been oversubscribed last year and will continue to provide the money, the kickstart, the support for small schemes in and around communities to play their part in improving our environment locally. And I think the other thing, if I may, just quickly, just so we are quite clear about just how many parks that we have and the work that we've done in them, our improvement programme over recent years has made big differences in terms of interpretation paths, seating, planting, landscaping works. Schemes at Plessy Woods Country Park, Isabella Heap Country Park in Blythe, Gallagher Park in Bedlington Cemetery, Valley Park in Cramlington, QE2 Country Park in Ashington, Eastwoods Park in Prudhoe, Cleeswell Hill Park at Choppington, Blythe Promenade, Blythe Links, East Cramlington Nature Reserve, Bowlam Lake Country Park, Flagstaff Park in Berwick, Queen's Garden in Tweedmouth, and Tyne Green Country Park in Hexham, and the Walkworth picnic site. That's a big lot of work that we do there. It's a very important part of the work that we do, and we will not cut that work, and we will continue to allow free car parking for now at all our country parks, because that will allow people to come and enjoy a walk with the dog or a stroll completely free in those country parks. So a huge amount of work has been carried out in the last 2 to 3 years, and this underlines that work, demonstrates our commitment, and shows our ambition to continue the work. Did you want to come back, John?
Did just want to mention two other things that I omitted, and that was the fact that under Mark's portfolio we've actually tackled more than the improvement of more than half of our public toilets within the county. You know, and we still have 53 public toilets in the county, which is quite unique when lots of other ones have been closing them. And also the fact that with the introduction of Fix My Streets, it has made it much easier for the public to report any public realm issues or fly tipping issues or environmental issues. So really, there's loads of things I could have mentioned, but that's a good flavour.
Absolutely. So the papers are online if anyone wishes to read this, which does demonstrate our commitment. I'm going to ask Councillor Oliver to come in here.
Yeah, John did mention it, but I'd just like to highlight the work that the Warm Homes team does.
Yes.
They bring in many, many millions of pounds of external funding, which directly goes to helping residents by making their houses more comfortable and warmer and reducing their energy bills. I visited one in my ward about 2 years ago, and he'd had ground source and solar put onto his bungalow, and it transformed his living. He was living in a warmer house, better conditions, and so that is really good work, well worth doing.
Yes, I think it's over 800 council properties that have had that work carried out. Which is, yeah, so that 800 plus, which is really good news. Councillor Chicken, you'll be particularly pleased with the Northumberland line that goes through your constituency.
I am, very. We all knew it was going to be a success, but we didn't realise just how much of a success it was going to be. I think it's taken us all by pleasant surprise. It's fantastic to see that extend further and with more and more stations coming up. It's not just about being able to get onto the train line. These particular stations are in places that previously had poor connections, and they take you to places that you could not get to beforehand via a bus. We all know our buses leave a lot to be desired, and there's a lot of work going on in the background to actually improve that. So when we have something like the Northumberland line that can get you from Ashington to Newcastle, you can hop on in a village of Seaton Delaval and be in the town centre of Newcastle, where many people work, shop and socialise in just 19 minutes. It's absolutely incredible, and I really look forward to seeing more carriages. They are desperately needed, and also hopefully some extensions in the future, because this really is fantastic. I mean, if it could go all the way up to Berwick, that would be great as well, but you know, I'll take what we've got so far. Thank you.
Excellent. So it's interesting you mentioned carriages, because we share your enthusiasm very much to see more carriages. We have been talking to Northern and the government for some time now, but it's not since I spoke to the Mayor recently that we've seen some action. And I hope very much that we will see carriages coming into the line soon. It's only right that they do, particularly when we bring in the next station, which is Bedlington. I know the Mayor also shares my ambition to see the Northumberland line go farther north, and I hope very much that we will see progress in that over the next few years. But all in all, a wonderful story about the Northumberland line, and thank goodness that we had the courage to do it. And thank you very much for that. Richard Wearmouth.
No further comment other than, yes, it was us that did it. It was us that put those demonstrator trains on. It was us that made the case. It was us that got government interested. And I only hope that the current government and the Mayor dig their hands firmly deep into their pockets and shell out more cash for it to get it to the next stages. And if so, then hats off to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm hopeful that, that we will move forward with extra carriages as quickly as we can. So, as I say, I'm very grateful that the Mayor shares my ambition on that. So, anything on this, there being the recommendation being proposed and seconded, anything else anyone would like to raise on this incredibly important piece of work? And what I would say, John, is that I want us to keep coming back to this so that we can, if you like, check that we are maintaining the speed and delivery that we want to see in terms of the work that we do within our environment work. Okay, good. So are you all in favour of the report? Yes. Yes. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. We now move on to another really important area of work, which is our roads. And I'm going to ask Councillor Mather to tell us about the local transport plan.
Thank you, Leader. I would say the most important, actually. As you know, our highway network in Northumberland's over 5,200 kilometres long, and it's valued at 5.8 billion, which is the largest asset for the council's responsible for. So ensuring a safe, reliable and resilient highway network is fundamental to the economic success and the social well-being of the county. And we want to ensure that the extensive assets is managed to the most effective and efficient way and continues to support the delivery of the council's key corporate objectives, which is driving economic growth, tackling inequalities and delivering value for money. This is the first time this council has developed an LTP capital programme that covers a 3-year period rather than just looking at the next 12 months. And I would like to thank all county councillors and the town and parish councils that have engaged in this process. This new, more strategic approach to developing our local transport plan will deliver a range of benefits, including giving greater certainty for the stakeholders over what work's being done and delivered and when. Also, more time to undertake member and community engagement over schemes to ensure that we get the best possible design solution to address the issues that's being raised. It will allow more effective programming of works and the management of supply chains and improve the operational performance and reduce disruption to our highway network users, which is very important. It will also improve the overall value for money gained from our capital funding. The 3-year LTP is based on a total funding package of over £102 million, which includes the extra £4 million that this council has found to support UNC footway improvements. This is especially important on such a financially difficult year that we continue to invest our own funding in the highways. You'll see that the report is a 3-year programme and consists of improvements and maintenance to address the key areas. These are shown in all the appendices. Sustainable transport covers improvements to support more walking and cycling, as well as maintaining existing footpaths and cycleways and our public rights of way. Safety, which covers works that's aimed at reducing the number of severity of road accidents, including engineering improvements, traffic calming schemes, traffic management measures, and general refurbishment of existing road signs and road markings to improve the general safety of our highway right across the county. Roads is the largest spend due to the size of the road network, and it does increase year on year. These increases were purposely put there after listening to the public consultation and the feedback from our communities that roads and highways is very important to them, and we've shown that in how the money's been spent. This element of the programme includes schemes covering carriageway resurfacing, preventative maintenance, such as surface dressing and microsurfacing, retexturing, preservation, as well as general refurbishment of the drainage system, street lighting and signals, vehicle restraint systems in car parks and footways. Bridges, which cover structures and landslips. This covers the maintenance of our many highway bridges and structures, as well as tackling issues like landslips, which are threatening our resilience and safety of road networks. A great deal of work has been done that's went through the development of the programme, taking in considerations from county councillors, town and parish councils, as well as asset management and road condition survey data, accident data and speed survey information. I'd really like to thank Ian and Michael and the team for the amount of work that has went into producing this document. We acknowledge it will be necessary to review the detail of the 3-year programme in light of any new emerging issues or severe weather events that cause damage to the network, and have also built in contingency provision to provide a degree of flexibility, which we are very much still here to discuss these items with town and parish councils as we move forward. The next steps, once the 3-year LTP is agreed, is to write to all members and town and parish councils who've submitted their priorities for consideration to advise them whether they have been included in the programme or not, and the reasons why it didn't make criteria. We will also be working with NECA to try and secure additional capital funding from DFT and Highways Maintenance through their Highway Maintenance Incentive Fund for the periods 27-28 and 28-29. It should be noted that the team's been successful in doing this in the 26-27 with a robust assessment management procedures, performing, reporting and transparency of all of our programming to show how funding is being spent, enabling us to secure an additional 9.4 million for the highways maintenance activity in 26-27.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. One of the most important documents that we agree every year, and one that has actually been linked strongly with the consultation that we undertook with the public, who said that roads and pavements are incredibly important for them. With the result of the consultation, we decided to find more money to put into roads, and the total is significant going forward. You yourself nagged for more money on UNC roads, and we put it in the capital programme, 4 million plus over the next 3 years, which is the right thing for you to have done. So thank you very much for that, Mark. And as you have said, spending will be spread across the areas that we need to cover, not just bridges, rights of way, and all the other things that we do. Okay, so you've proposed the recommendations, I think, Mark. Yes, seconded by Councillor Stewart, I think. Before we take the vote, are there any questions or queries or thoughts about the 3-year local transport plan? No. Yes, Councillor Richard.
Just to say that I think it's a great way forward to actually have a 3-year plan instead of just the annual look at the local transport plan. Obviously, some of it's very indicative, and as is rightly in these recommendations, as authority, we did delegate it to Mark as cabinet member to alter things as and when necessary.
Yes, you did right. So thank you, Mark, for bringing in this 3-year plan, which is very sensible, which means that we can react quicker and perhaps do schemes to follow on from where we might be working, rather than having to wait till the next year's LTP to do it. So it makes a lot of sense strategically and operationally, and I'm really pleased that we're putting all this money into our roads. It's a huge amount of money. And let's hope we don't get any more of that foul weather that caused problems, not just for us, but right across the country where the similar conditions took place. So you have had to field a lot of criticism, and much of that was because folks perhaps weren't really aware of how serious it was elsewhere. And I think you were recently, Councillor Wilmot, in another place, and you saw a lot of potholes. So it's not just us. And I do want to thank all the teams that have been out working flat out to get them repaired, and to thank the parish and town councils for being patient with us. While we got on with that urgent repair job following that awful 3 weeks of weather. So, any thought? Yes, Councillor Horncastle.
Just very quickly, it's not directly related to this, but the state of our roads, I've got that many problems in my area which aren't caused by potholes or flooding or anything. It's caused by absolutely terrible utility reinstatement. And what I'm asking is it possible, Mark, to get a paper about this problem to SLT? Because we've mentioned it for years and years, and in my area I haven't got hardly a pothole, but just about shakes your car to bits.
Yeah, Leader, I'm more than happy to do that and get us an update on the powers that we've got to hold utility companies to account.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And we all know where bad reinstatement has taken place, which has ended us with a pile of money to repair. I do think, though, the law changed fairly recently to give us greater powers, but if you could give us some comfort on that, that would be really helpful. So thank you for that, Councillor Horncastle. Anything else from anyone else? Councillor Patterson, how are things in your part of the county?
Well, thank you, Leader. Yes, there is still a few potholes on the U&C roads, but of course we've had a really bad, if you like, winter followed by a lot of rain. So it's par for the course. I'm afraid.
As you were saying, I think earlier, how much work has been carried out to repair the damage, and that they're getting around as quickly as they can.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good. Well, we certainly are reacting as fast as we can, and the job is well under control now, I think, Mark. Good. Okay, so are you all in favour of those recommendations and our 3-year local transport plan? Yes, that's great. Thank you. So now we come on to item 14, which is the regulation of investigatory, hard word to say, I'm not going to try it again, Powers Act 2000. Oh, yes, exactly. RIPA, R-I-P-A, which is the regulation of that for us to look at now. You're going to tell us about the policy, Councillor Stewart.
Yes, thank you, Leader. This does not relate to CCTV in the open spaces or body cams, as often be seen. This does relate purely to covert operations. So the Northumberland County Council is charged with carrying out various enforcement duties which may require officers to investigate. As part of the investigation, officers may be required to gather information using covert surveillance techniques, for example, covert CCTV camera. How this may result in private information, which includes aspects of a person's private and personal life being obtained. So a reminder, this is just a review of the policy we've had for some time, and we do the review on a regular basis. By way of reassurance, before any covert surveillance technique can be commenced, there's a strict application process. Only specially trained officers within the council can grant authorisations. Once the authorisation has been approved by the officers, it's checked by the monitoring officer, called a gatekeeper on this occasion. An application must then be made to the magistrate's court. I have met with our legal department. I've challenged certain aspects, and I'm really satisfied we've got a robust system in place. I can confirm there's only been, the last time there was an application was 2019, so it's not something we do on a regular basis. So I invite Cabinet to approve the policy as set out in the appendix to the report.
That's lovely, thank you. Are you proposing the two recommendations, and they're seconded by Councillor Horncastle? Any questions, queries, thoughts on this one? Okay, we are asked to basically do what we need to do in terms of this sensitive area. Are you all in favour? You are, so thank you very much for that. That takes us to our final paper today, which is the Community Risk Management Plan, 26 to 30. And I'm going to ask Councillor Stewart to let us know how we're getting on with this and some of the key points.
Yeah, absolutely right, Leader. It's a fine document. It's been well written. It's easy to read and contains a massive amount of information there. And I know the Cabinet have discussed it on numerous occasions. And thank the Cabinet who have been very supportive of this. There has been consultation. All members who were invited to take part, members of the public took part as well. Again, thank you for all those who have taken part there. It's strategic. Its key objectives is an aim set up by the Northumberland County Council, because the Fire and Rescue Service is a very big part of the County Council. It details where we are now with the risks and how we're dealing with those risks, reducing those risks by various means, but also looking to the future for emerging trends such as wildfires or lithium batteries, or the increase in housing and motor vehicles in this county. So it went to scrutiny the other week, challenged there. They appear to be delighted with this paper as well. So I recommend the paper today for the Cabinet to approve.
Oh, thank you very much indeed. So the recommendations are, as you say, to approve the adoption of this document and to delegate authority to the Chief Fire Officer to undertake such actions are necessary to implement the adopted plan. So are you proposing that, Councillors, those two? And seconded by Councillor Renner-Thompson. Thoughts? Yes, Councillor Renner-Thompson.
I was pleased that the Cabinet member mentioned wildfires. So we have the #1 fire service in the country for wildfires, but I fear that we're going to see more of these because as more and more of our uplands are having the stock, the sheep and the cattle taken off them, we're going to, and they're talking about stopping the grouse shooting and they're stopping the hill burning. All we're going to see is a bigger increase of gorse and heather up on the hills, and it's going to lead to more fires. So it's something that's really important that we need to keep an eye on over the next few years.
Absolutely. Quite right. I'm going to bring in Councillor Stewart to respond to that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I have had initial discussions with fire officers who are specialists in that field. Not so long ago, I went to London with these guys and they won a national award. So we are leading nationally on this subject, but it's something to be really concerned about.
Good, thank you very much. Any other questions or thoughts? I think, Councillor Mather, that the Fire and Rescue Service carries out its duties extremely well throughout the county, including areas like yourself.
Yeah, it does, Chair. I was incredibly proud to play a very small part in Northumberland Fire and Rescue, and I enjoy admiring from the side their professionalism, whether it's storm response or fire response. Yeah, it's a great asset to this council.
It certainly is a great asset to this council. So, are there any further thoughts or queries? If not, the recommendation being proposed by Councillor Stewart, seconded by Councillor Renner-Thompson, are you all in favour? Are you all in favour? Yeah, okay, that is unanimous. So that takes us to the end of the agenda today. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today, here and at home. And we look forward to seeing you at our next.